What's going on YouTube? GeoSnow right here. So in today's video I have great news for those of you waiting for a new jailbreak on iOS 13.3 and lower, especially for the A12 and A13 people, but the exploit works on older devices as well. Now, a new exploit has been achieved on iOS 13.3 A13, but as I said, it works on other devices as well, and it has been achieved by Sparkey just a day ago. Now, you probably remember that just 2 days ago I posted a video about another tfp0 kernel exploit for iOS 13.3 posted by this guy in here, and this one was for the iPhone XS Max, but again, it would work on other devices as well. Well, apparently Sparkey got himself an exploit as well, and he posted this picture in here, basically proving his point. Now, in the picture in here, you can see the kernel version, the Darwin kernel version, which basically matches the A13 device, probably iPhone 11 or 11 Pro, and of course iOS 13.3. And of course he got tfp0, this is the kernel task port, and then he got the kernel base. He apparently did some memory reading in here, this is basically the header of the kernel from what I can see, and then the last two lines in there are UID 501 and UID 0. These two mean a couple of things. UID 501 means mobile. The mobile user is basically the user behind everything you do on your phone, from your applications that you install, and the settings application and stuff like that. Most of what you can change is done under that user, which is basically not privileged. The opposite side is the root user, which is basically UID 0, and that's what he did in here. He changed from UID 501 to UID 0, basically escalating his own privileges in the application so that he can modify things in the system that he wouldn't otherwise be allowed to. Now, this is an important step into a jailbreak because when we do a jailbreak, we do need to get root in order to be able to access various paths or to install anything or to have tweaks running and stuff like that. So getting root is actually very important, but he did it in here to prove his point, to prove the fact that he has control over the kernel memory and he can do whatever he wants. Now, at this point, creating a jailbreak for him is actually pretty easy. He already got root, he just needs to escape the sandbox, which is actually pretty easy to do, just a couple of lines of code and he's done. But as you can see here, the exploit works on A13 devices. This is actually a premiere because no A13 jailbreak exists at the moment, and if this gets released, we would be able to update the Unc0ver Jailbreak and possibly even the Chimera Jailbreak to work with A12 and A13 devices on iOS 13.3 and lower, including 13.2.3, 13.2, 13.1.3, 13.0 and so on. So this is definitely very useful. Now, I'm not sure if it's the same exploit as the one in here. They're both for 13.3 and they both have tfp0, but Sparkey has released a ton of things in the past for the jailbreak community. He even made a jailbreak back in the iOS 10 days, the Meridian jailbreak for those of you who are curious, and he also released a couple of iOS 12 exploits that were used in jailbreak. So he may release this one once it gets burned by Apple in future versions. So if you have an A12 or A13 device, stay as low as possible, do not update past 13.3. For those of you who are curious, the A13 devices are the iPhone 11 and 11 Pro, and of course there are variants like the Max and so on. And the A12 devices are basically the iPhone XS, XS Max and XR. The exploit would work on other devices as well, for example iPhone X and lower, but for those you already have the CheckRa1n Jailbreak, which is compatible with the latest iOS 13.3 version, so there is no need for tfp0. However, once we get a release like this, we would be able to update the Unc0ver to support all devices on the iOS 13.3 and lower, which would definitely be very good. Now, for those of you who are curious on whether there will be problems for the A13 devices, I don't think so, because between A12 and A13 devices there is no real difference. They both use the same architecture, RMv 8.3, which has PAC or pointer authentication code, which the Unc0ver team managed to defeat a long time ago. Now, for those of you who want to read more about the PAC or pointer authentication code and what it is and how it works, Jonathan Levin has a posting here on his forum on the new OS X book, and there are a couple of pages from his book available about this in here and what are the changes. So I think it's definitely an interesting read to do if you are curious about the changes, but between the A12 and A13 devices, there is no real change, so if we get this exploit in here released, we would be able to update the Unc0ver for the A12 and A13 devices, and we will be able to jailbreak the latest and greatest Apple devices. And I think that if the exploit gets patched, he will release it at some point in the future. I'm not sure about this guy in here, I never heard of him before. I do know it's legit because many developers in the community follow him and many security researchers, but there has been no release that I know of from him, so I do not expect much for the moment, but Sparkey might release in the future. So yeah, that's pretty much it guys, thank you for watching, I am GeoSnow, till the next time, stay as low as possible, do not update past 13.3, and peace out.